by the mainstream community. We'll have conversations with maintenance and reliability practitioners just like you.
So we're back at the Mainstream Summit in Fremantle, and I'm sitting and chatting here with Mike Greyling, who Mike, shall I call you a consultant or an advisor? What shall I? You got to come nice and close to the microphone.
That's the first time I've ever been called a consultant, so thank you. It's my introduction to the consulting world. I guess I've been an internal consultant in the corporate world for a long time, sort of guiding and advising and counselling people on the right way to do asset management. So yeah, loosely, I've been a consultant for a long time.
Okay, BHP iron ore for a long time, yeah. CBH in the West. Yeah. I mean, Mike's basically been working in and alongside reliability and maintenance teams or managing those teams in a more executive general management type of role most of his career. Is that a fair way to start you off? Yep. So Mike, we're chatting about one of the top issues that came out of the research report. You and I have had a few conversations about this before, and it goes like this: the modern reliability engineer, overlooked and underappreciated. The research sort of seemed to say reliability engineers are, we all know how crucial they are to the success of asset-intensive organizations. Yep. They play a vital role in ensuring that equipment, machinery, and other assets are running efficiently and effectively. But unfortunately, we keep on hearing that reliability engineers are often overlooked and underappreciated within organizations. Why?
So I don't think organisations underappreciate the concept of reliability. There's been a great recognition of the importance of good asset management practices and reliability engineering, and it's evolved into things like ISO 55000 as an entire asset management framework. And these are business imperatives. Over the last 20, 30 years, organisations have realised if you don't look after your asset well, at some stage or other, it's going to fail, and sometimes it fails in very bad ways. And as you know, Drew Troy and I have been working a lot on looking at what the various impacts, the long-term impacts of catastrophic asset failures are on large organisations. So everyone actually wants a bit of reliability. I guess the challenge is how you fit reliability into your organisation, because in the reliability role, or the concept of reliability, is a reliability engineer actually works on the system. Whereas your normal to typical maintenance people, your maintenance planners, your maintenance supervisors, even the maintenance engineer, your tradesmen, work in the system. So their job is to make sure that the work is actually properly planned, scheduled, executed to the desired quality, and it's done efficiently. Whereas the reliability engineer actually asks the question is that work necessary, and what work needs to be done, and is the process that you're using to manage that work, is that operating correctly? So they sort of one step back.
So the appreciation is there for the importance of reliability, and therefore the importance of a reliability engineer or engineers, but perhaps it's not revered like it should be, or it's overlooked in the name of business as usual.
I think it's more that the business as usual interferes with reliability, the imperative of reliability. So one of the things is that, businesses, and it's driven by the reality of the world, is that businesses have a bias to action. So, there is no manager out there that runs even an NGO that is not saying, I want some results and I want to see them so we can celebrate the outcome.
Outcome-based.
So it's outcome-based and it's action. A lot of the work, and not all of the work, but a lot of the work that a reliability engineer does is actually analysis, and he requires stability, and he and she requires accuracy. So a lot of their stuff takes a long time. There is an outcome, but it's not necessarily a big action, and it always takes a long time. So there's always this tension between what the business wants and the manager wants to drive the action, and what the reliability engineer wants to improve the system. And the other point to this is that because the nature of the reliability engineers' work of improving systems and getting that perfection is that it's the nature of the person that's attracted to that type of job is someone who's generally an introverted thinker, has a lot of wants stability and wants accuracy. So you end up having these two opposing forces pulling against each other. Someone who wants action and is being driven by their leaders to show the results, and then the reliability engineer who's just actually saying, look, give me some more time. This is not perfect yet.
Right. I mean, perfectionists are not so good at the 80-20 rule, right?
And that's the challenge. And this is why my hypothesis on this whole thing is that as organizations try and address this as a problem to solve. And my hypothesis is that this is actually a dilemma to manage. So there are positives and negatives, and there are advantages and disadvantages to each of those. I mean, it is just what it is. The world needs outcomes. A business cannot survive if there hasn't been action taken and stuff produced. But the flip side is that if you don't have the stability and the foundation of a well-designed process and system that is continuously improved, you are going to, as a business, you are going to fall behind your competitors.
So if that's the case, I mean, it sounds like you need to have maintenance managers and so people who are in leadership roles in the maintenance organization. It's their role really to almost, to protect reliability engineers and allow their skills and their contribution to flourish, so they don't just get onto more day-to-day maintenance type work, because that's what happens.
Yes, look, and that's what it is, but it's also it's more deeply structural than that. So you actually have to. There's always an element of the work that a reliability engineer needs to do that he or she actually moves into working in the system. The real challenge is that once the reliability is in that system, they become part of the machine, and it's very difficult to extract themselves again. So they get caught into this producing work, and then don't have any time to improve the system. So it's very important that the leaders understand that there is this requirement, but the organization also needs to be structured to allow the reliability engineer to move in and out of the system.
Yeah.
The flip side of this is that the nature of reliability engineers is that because they are naturally introverted thinkers, work with a lot of data, are not really good at reading organizational cues or emotional cues. So they find they are very often uncomfortable in working in an interactive system. So they're not necessarily natural team players. So you need to give them the ability or the coaching and the structures to be able to be those team players from time to time, because fundamentally is that reliability engineers are actually they actually writing out the recipes and they're improving the recipes. But if you're a good chef, you need to go and taste the outcome of your recipe from time to time, otherwise you won't be improving. And that's where the reliability engineer needs to move into the system, but being allowed to move back out of the system again.
So they're like specialists who require time for design and strategic thinking.
Yes, they do. The challenge that you have in the real world is that there are two types of work in the real world, in the corporate world and even the NGO world, is that there's work that is urgent and work that is important for the long term. And the work that is urgent always gets the priority, just that is natural. And this is the challenge that organizations has, because once the reliability engineers in there doing the urgent work, it's very difficult for them to extract themselves or to be extracted. And so that's why the structure needs to be there to allow them to be moving in and out of those roles.
Yeah, but based on that, I mean, I would bring this back to what we were saying earlier then about almost the magic, the requirement coming down to the leaders being able to interpret and manage and make sure that these very talented reliabilities fit really well and their work is respected and valued in the wider maintenance organization. I mean, one of the quotes we got from the researcher, this is from a director of asset capability at an oil and gas company, quote, "Our senior leadership do not see reliability programs or reliability engineers as full-time projects or full-time roles. Their view is that the focus is too narrow, and in fact, a lot of our reliability programs get stopped before they even have the chance to add value.
That's a very insightful comment, and I agree with you is that you need empathic leaders that understand how to work with the nature of a reliability, the type of the traits that a reliability engineer has. But it's not only one side. Reliability engineers are all very intelligent adults. They sometimes have a fairly they have something to learn on the emotional IQ side of things, but they are extremely intelligent. And as intelligent individuals, they've also got to meet these leaders halfway by actually being available to be out there in the field and to see the results of their improvement work and to interact with people.
Okay. And Mike, you're going to be speaking about this afternoon, about the dilemma, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Not to spoil the presentation, but can you just give us sort of a highlight of what it's going to be about?
Well, very much. I think you've done the spoiler already. Spoiler alert. This is the fundamental premise of the presentation. That is a piece of work that's been evolving over several years, and every time there's a little bit of another gem that I can hope to add to it, and I'm just hoping that it'll be something that practical that businesses can take away with them. It is not if this was if there was an easy solution to this, it would have been solved long ago. This is something that needs to be managed over time. I guess the key, the crux of the outcome of what I'm trying to convey today at the presentation too will be that dual role or the dual accountability of the organisation and the leader to make it to recognise that there are parts of this dilemma that they're accountable to manage, but the flip side is that it's the reliability engineer themselves and the young graduates who intend to want to be reliability engineers, that they've got to find themselves a mentor or someone that can help them work on the emotional side of it and actually be available. Because the one way to as you know, Chris, is one of the best ways of actually getting good at something that you're not comfortable with is to jump into the deep end and
throw yourself in. Ask for forgiveness later.
That's it.
Mike, we're almost at time. To put a little bit of pressure on you, if you let's fast forward to the end of your session.
Yeah.
What would you like the people who attend your session to walk out with?
To recognise the next time that an organisation is trying to solve this as a problem. In other words, they are going to be looking to centralise or decentralise this team because they believe that that's going to solve it. To recognise that that's the red flag, that they are actually not going to manage this. It's going to swing back on them. So rather recognise it and say, well, what are those things? Let's choose a direction, whichever way it is, and recognise and list the things that are the downfalls or the pitfalls of that strategy, and identify the controls and the markers that would tell them when those controls are working or not working.
Mike, always great to talk with you. Good luck for the session this afternoon.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, cool.